How do hackers break into systems? The strategies are actually more simple than you thought. There is only one key ingredient: vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities in humans and vulnerabilities in systems. There is also a third strategy that most ignore. Stay tuned until the end to learn what it is. Humans are inherently vulnerable, and hackers exploit this by the use of deception. They are masters in manipulation, tricksters by trade that carefully work their way into your good books, gain your trust, and then abuse it. There are several techniques they use, but the core principle is the same: deceive to dominate. Phishing is one of the most common techniques for hackers to gain initial access. They deceive you into revealing confidential information, such as your sign-in credentials. From a hacker's perspective, this is the path of least resistance. Here is why. It is less likely that their presence will be noticed, as they are using a legitimate user account. Alternatively, hackers often trick their victims into opening a malicious file that initiates a chain reaction of events and grants the hacker access to your system and its data. Deception is such a dangerous tool because it allows hackers to apply pressure by appealing to your emotions: fear, greed, anger, and curiosity. You may have heard about social engineering. It is a bag of tricks. The tricks have known outcomes, and the outcomes are known because human nature does not change. Don't take things at face value. Pause and consider the intention behind. Systems are also inherently vulnerable. Hackers abuse system functionality to gain control. They understand how systems work and find loopholes to circumvent their normal operations. There are numerous techniques, but the strategy is the same. Buffer overflows abuse the way the system allocates memory. Brute force attacks take advantage of the fact that the system lacks the required security controls to prevent systematic password guessing. Injection attacks abuse how systems pass and execute commands. They provide hackers a way to introduce commands into the execution flow, to hijack the application, and possibly even the system. Malware abuses the capabilities of system components to turn the system against itself, or it exploits the vulnerabilities in system components. Compromising a system is getting increasingly difficult. Hackers have to plan and execute their moves with precision and prudence. It is like a game of chess. They have to bypass security controls, evade detection and response solutions, and perform their activities with stealth to fly under the radar of cybersecurity professionals. Up until now, we have made the assumption that hackers are external threats. The third strategy is used by hackers that have authorized access to the target. This is known as an insider threat. It is the abuse of delegated authorization. The key ingredient remains the same, but this time the hacker exploits vulnerabilities in both humans and systems. The hacker takes advantage of the trust access and privileges that have been granted based on their employment at the target corporation. In this case, trust is a human vulnerability that exists because an employer has to have a certain level of trust in the employee in order for the business relationship to work. Access is a system vulnerability. A system cannot be used if no access is granted. When access is granted, the system becomes vulnerable to abuse. The same applies to privileges. Without sufficient privileges, authorized actions cannot be performed. As soon as privileges are granted, the system becomes vulnerable to abuse. This is often the most dangerous and subtle tactic a hacker can use. Most companies invest heavily in defending against external threats. Due to human nature, most employers do not give the same attention to defending against insider threats. In 2023, 2 employees of Tesla leaked out personally identifiable information belonging to more than 75,000 individuals. If it could happen to Tesla, it could also happen to you.